So what happened after the assassination of the founder? What was when did Bangladesh? Because it's coming fresh out of a separation, and then there's a conflict between Pakistan and the home country itself, and then like within all of this happening in a period of from 71 to 74, the founder being assassinated.
75.
75. So in a period of 4 years.
Even less than like 4 years.
So when did the government of Bangladesh form, or what was the structure like earlier?
It was a parliamentary system. We had to draft new constitutions. So first there was constitution and assembly, and then there was parliamentary election. So we had a new constitution, parliamentary British style system. But the conflict between the old Muslim elites and the emerging middle class, those who are coming from the farming, and at the same time within army, the Pakistani elements that already remained, that made reconstruction, post-war reconstruction difficult. Post-war, like polity or state building, difficult, because in a new country you have to build institutions, and that requires a lot of consensus. So at the time, since like the Western Bloc, they were not supporting Bangladesh, recognizing Bangladesh. So Bangladesh had to side with the Soviet bloc and the non-aligned movements. So at that time, we also and there was also desire to go for a socialist kind of economy. Now to take such radical decisions, you need time and like more consensus. But before that happened, so the army, the Pakistani elements within the army, and based on various declassified documents, now we can say that the Americans were also involved. Sheikh Mujibur was assassinated. And then we had a military dictator for a few years. And a new party was born. A new party that was born like inside the cantonment. So the new party leader, the new military dictator, he contested in a presidential election while being the army chief. That was in 1979.
What was the party?
The BNP, one of the two largest party now. Well, since then they have become socially acceptable, and they now have a large support base, and but you cannot erase history, where they come from.
So,
and then in 1981, the founder of BNP, the military dictator, he himself was assassinated. And then briefly we had an election, and then in 82, the army chief, General Ershad, he took over. No, he comes from a different kind of military background. Like during 71, he was in Pakistan. He returned to Bangladesh after the war. So 82 onwards, we had another 8-9 years of autocratic rule. Yeah, there were elections and huge popular movements. So at that time, BNP very actively participated in the people's movement to restore democracy. And that's how gradually they became more legitimized within the political system. So then in 1990, there was huge people's uprising, and the General Ershad, he had to leave.
Why was that so?
Well, first of all, he was illegitimate. He was a military dictator. And people wanted democratic system.
Was it any individual single event that sparked this whole revolution, or was it just building up slowly?
Building up slowly, but also a number of things came into effect around the same time, like the first Gulf War.
Okay.
Because of the first Gulf War, prices of many things went up. So there are already discontent within the population, and that Middle East situation made it worse. So everything came together, and at the same time, the parties, they also pushed for it. So he had to resign. Then a consensus kind of system was formed to like a caretaker government, and to hold the next election. And that caretaker government continued for some time. But you cannot continue with that system for too long, because
It's an interim government, right? How do you define it?
well, at that time it was called caretaker government.
Okay.
Not like interim government,
Okay.
not like now. So 1990 was a transitional time. So at that
but
time,
effectively, that was, I mean, like, that was an interim government, effectively, just with a different name, or like, I mean, like, how is it different?
even conceptually it was different, because they had only one task, that is to hold the next election.
Okay.
And there was election in 91.
And then what happened after 91?
Oh, after 91. So the BNP, the party that was born in a cantonment, they won the election. And this was also high time for donor-supported NGOs in Bangladesh. They were also quite big, quite powerful. Huge funding was coming, and they were also doing good work. But often working as a parallel to the government, because many of the services government was failing to deliver, so NGOs took over. So that also gave them stake in the political system. Now, there are many unresolved issues, like during 71, many atrocities happened. Like many local people collaborated with Pakistani military, collaborated not only in a political sense, but also committing violent activities. Those needed to be resolved. And also the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now, he was assassinated as the head of a state. So you need to you need to bring it to justice, right? So from 75 till 91, in Bangladesh, we consider 91 like, almost like a second start kind of a thing. So those things were brewing.